Come on.
Death is the one story every life shares, but the conversations around it rarely happen. Welcome to the show that opens the doors to the funeral profession. The people, the stories, and the truths most never hear. This is As the Hearse Turns.
Hey!
Hey, how are you?
Sore.
Are you going to be there tomorrow?
I can do, my upper body's fine. So I gotta redeem myself. So yes, I am going to be there tomorrow and do the upper body and, go from there. But it like you told me the other day, like it's an intense workout, and you're going to be sore. I didn't think I was going to have to look like John Wayne walking up and down the steps though. It's pretty serious, man. And then I didn't know. Did you notice, like, after we got done talking this afternoon at our meeting, like when I went to stand up, I had to use the chair to like push myself up.
That's good though.
It's a good store. It is.
Yeah.
It is.
Well, awesome. I'm excited to see you tomorrow. So I'll see you tomorrow at.
It starts at 6:30, right?
Yeah, I'm just reading a comment. Yeah, I usually get there. I don't know. I'll probably get there around 6:15 to stretch.
Yeah.
So Jen says, "Hey guys, I was just down in Red Lion at our main office." Well, Jen, you should have stopped in. Cool. Well, I'm excited about tonight. And
I'm very excited.
Nathan, I heard of Nathan early on, maybe back in, I don't know, 2016, 2017.
Yeah.
Didn't know too much about him, but I've really taken time over the last couple of months, definitely the last 6 months, to get to know him a little bit more and understand who he is. I think oftentimes there are many of us in funeral service that are misunderstood. And I think he's a down-to-earth, genuine, good person, and I'm excited to talk to him tonight. Very excited.
I'm very excited. I'm not going to lie. I'm probably going to fanboy. I remember watching Nathan, man, when I was when I was in mortuary school, when I was in John A. Gupton, I was like, man, this guy's awesome. And then, the other thing is he was doing things outside the box before many other funeral professionals. And, a lot of people are continuing that, the marketing, the thinking outside, the going behind the scenes, the actual transparency. And, that was definitely one of the coolest things going through mortuary school, a lot of his videos. So I'm really excited. Kelly Robinson's in here, and I didn't know Kelly's from Kentucky. So that's pretty cool.
And Phoebe's in here. Hey, Phoebe.
Yeah, Phoebe is like our like champion of all channels.
She's great.
She is phenomenal. Thank you, Phoebe, for all that you do, constantly sharing and commenting and engaging with us. We do appreciate that, and we do see you. So let's go ahead and let's welcome the man, the myth, the legend, Nathan Morris.
That is a dangerous introduction. What's up, everybody?
What's going on, man?
Not much. I'm sitting in chaos, but I think we're all accustomed to that.
Yeah, Katharine, you missed it prior. So Nathan's completely like renovating his studio and what does he get? A wall back there coming down and everything else under the sun?
Yeah, we've renovated it. This will be the third renovation. We're doing a bathroom remodel. We're adding a full bath down in the studio. It's in the basement. And so this wall was redone just to redo it again. And then this one's in the process. So that the chaos that's behind all of this is insane. You should see all this equipment, but nonetheless, you just get to see.
I thought you were going for like the industrial vibe.
No.
Like
yes. Tonight that is exactly what I'm going for, Katharine. I'm glad you got it.
Yeah.
You've hit it. You've achieved the epitome of what you're looking for, sir.
Well, I watched, all of the content that you all did when you were renovating your home, and everything is so intentional. And I was like, you know what? That's what obviously it's not industrial, but my point is that was a horrible joke. That was a dad joke. Anyway, that is not what it's supposed to look like. It'll look way better. It won't look as good as your funeral home though, but it'll look good.
So when are you going to come up to Pennsylvania and actually visit in person?
Soon. Absolutely. I would love to. A lot of people that I know and respect, including you all on that list, are in the area, and I would love to. That'd be great.
Yeah, I think that'd be pretty cool.
Yeah, it'd be so awesome. I would love to. We should get that on the books.
I'll be in Kentucky in June of 27 to speak at a cemetery conference.
That's fun.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
Is it SCC?
Yeah, it's something
FA?
like it's something we'd never really heard of, and then had to like look into it and stuff like that. But yeah, they've reached out to Katharine, and they
That's so fun.
wanted her to come out and speak and talk. So she'll be down next year.
Do you think it's fun to do those types of speaking engagements with people that you know in the room? Like, what if I was in the front row and I'm just like this? Like, would that be weird for somebody?
Just
like,
watching.
You know?
I hate public speaking.
Do you?
I
Katharine
hate it. I feel
not like to be out there in front of people at all.
Which is such a crazy thing for people that watch the content from both of you, that engage with it, that have this.
Yeah.
It's a relationship, right? This connection, and yet in public, if you sat in front of 30 people, you would coil up. Is that how you kind of feel? Like inside, you're like, I want to crawl in a hole.
Yeah, I feel like you can see my like jugular throbbing, and it's very dramatic.
A room full of embalmers that go, man, she'd be easy to embalm.
She's so easy. She'd be 20. She'd take 22 minutes. 22 minutes, a little bit of it should be done. Chromatech, pink.
I feel like though, when you can get up and speak about something that you're passionate about, while you might be nervous initially, you kind of get into a groove. And yeah, I'm good once I get started, but leading up to it, I'm a nervous wreck. So yes, but I'll be in Kentucky in June.
Living in your head, like that's the space that doesn't ever like it never exists more times than not. And the story that you create, the best thing I ever did was started working. Not working. I went to this BNI, Business Network International, which sounds. I don't know if you all have a BNI. It works for some businesses. Some people would, they stand by it. For me, it was every week we had to develop a 60-second elevator pitch for the company that you represent. You had plumbers, you had electricians, you had realtors, and I'm the funeral home there. And so I would work really hard to create and refine this 60-second pitch that I'm constantly changing every week. So you didn't hear the same thing over and over, but the nuts and bolts are the same. And that really, really helped with the chops aspect of it. But I don't know, maybe my personality is, I'm sanguine. You put me in front of people and, they tell me that I sing good and have nice hair and I'm butter in your hands.
You do have great hair. I've always liked your hair.
Yes.
I have a Nathan, my husband, but he doesn't have any hair. Sorry, honey, if you're watching. But you have a great head of hair.
Nathan has a good head, right? You can't
pull off bald with like weird. That's why I refuse to go completely bald. I mean, I'm almost there, but I refuse to truly embrace my Uncle Fester look.
But why? You don't have a bad head either. It's not like
there's like a roll thing that goes on right here, and I look like a sad.
That's just because you're stout, dude. It's proportional.
If I put a light bulb in my mouth and shave the goatee, you guys would love it.
That's amazing. I love this. This is fun. This is what it's about. I saw a TikTok today from this. I don't remember. It's a funeral home. It's not like when I say it's not Chris. It's not Katharine. And I know you represent your homes too on there. But this is, and they were being playful around the arrangement table, and I loved it. But then I made some humorous backhanded comment so that they understood. I was like, how dare you laugh and be excited to be alive right now? You're supposed to be sad and stoic and, miserable and not being on social media. But I love this is what my point is, that we're able to chat and goof around and talk about life.
Well, that's the thing. It's like people have this conception that we're supposed to, wear all black, nothing stylish, nothing nice, and not see the sunlight and be pale. And, you think of a funeral director and you automatically think of like Uncle Lurch, you know what I mean? And it's just like, that's not who we are. We're real people. We like to have fun. And the amount of pushback and the trolls and the haters and the comments from licensees is just overwhelming, all because we're doing something they don't feel comfortable enough to do.
Right. Right. I remember my mom is big on analogies, I guess, because I'm a very visual person and learner. And she told me one day that, people are overall mediocre. And my mother is salt of the earth. She doesn't mean any hate by this, but people are mediocre. Mediocrity is the way of life for most people, right? So you stand in line, you march. And the moment that someone steps out of that line, i.e., shows them their hearts and content and puts themselves out there, they see themselves with all the other people that have stood in this spot, and they want you to get back in line, right? Because
absolutely,
they don't want to stand out and be seen, so they'll do what they have to get you back, if that makes sense. And my mom told me to never ever march any other place than where I was, which I love that.
Yeah. So let's see. There's a couple of questions coming. I mean, the chat is just like blowing up. A lot is just like where folks are from. Michigan, Kansas, ton of people from Kentucky, Indiana. Let's see, Dallas. Where was this one? All right. So James is asking, as a former tutor for a mortuary school, I'm concerned about the people entering the profession now. What do you see as the future of funeral service, Nathan?
The concern about people entering the profession now, I can't speak to as far as what the concern is that they're seeing. I see the future is you better be online. And I will die on that hill. You and we have seen it time and time again. People are on their phones, especially our demographic, the women who are spending over an hour and a half a day just on Facebook, the decision makers. Any walk-in that you get for a pre-arrangement, the husband and wife, the woman brought them. The man is just being dragged. It is where they are searching in the middle of the night because they don't necessarily feel comfortable about asking the question face to face. So they're searching what happens when someone dies. If you are not embracing technology, social media content, learning that, establishing it, rooting it within just the natural flow of your day to day, you're going to be dead in the water. Embracing the technology as well. Processes. I am a process in my personal life. It's weird. I can't keep heads or tails, but if you put me in a funeral home establishment, the process is critical. Who's going on what service, the process of the paperwork, the process of the experience itself. It's been so watered down and become this template for so many people. Get them in, get them out, get them in, get them out. I believe that if people are not embracing refined processes with the experience and the hospitality, they'll be an afterthought. It'll be something that they'll be left in the dust. That's where I think the future is. I think we're in it. I think the people that are embracing the technology and the social media, they're experiencing the pain of that. And of course, it's amazing the number of funeral homes that are still reliant on just walk-in, call-in, pre-arrangement. That blows my mind too.
Or the yellow pages.
Oh my gosh, I know. But you were, I went to mortuary school in 2012, 11. So I was on the tail end. So the people that I learned under are the seasoned, the ones that had no answering service. We had a long, do you know what the foreign exchange lines were? Do you all know what that is or no?
No, I'm not familiar.
When I started, the phones were in the houses, and AT&T, no, not plugging them, but when they went to disconnect that service, it was called a foreign exchange line. Literally going 20 minutes outside of the city where the funeral home was, is where a funeral director and owner lived. They didn't know how to disconnect the technology. It was so dated. And so, I mean, that's who I learned under. The answering service, it wasn't implemented until 2015 or 16. So that the phone was ringing at the house. It's crazy.
Well, I remember, Katharine, when one of the last days when we're leaving the old funeral home, out in the garage, and the phone booth cabinet cupboard thing, there
Mhm.
was old jacks that were like wired to, like, I guess they would transfer the phone over to that jack and it would ring back to like Earl's house, because it was even like labeled house or whatever this place was and stuff like that. So thinking about that, to where, because I do remember where they would say, okay, who's on call tonight? Okay, you get to leave at 4 o'clock because you need to be home at 5 o'clock because everyone's leaving here at 5 o'clock. So if the phone rings, you need to be at home to be able to answer the phone.
Or they would call. I was on a call with scheduled with a guy named Gary. Oh, bless his heart, Gary. I want to shout out to Gary, by the way, anybody who knows him. He did 32 years in the profession. He didn't like me one bit, but he taught me so much. But it wasn't until after the fact. But he would call and say, I got to go get bread, get the phones. I'd say, okay, going to get bread. Yep.
So no, I think you hit the nail on the head 110%, 1,000%. Just the fact that, I think that's a message that Katharine champions all the time, is that if you do not embrace getting to know the community and getting the community to know you before they need you, you've already failed.
Yes.
I will absolutely die on that hill with you when it comes to social media. If you are not embracing social media right now, don't get upset when the funeral home down the street connects with the families that you served.
Yes.
For 100 years.
Yes. You both can give just one example after another of the content that you all have created with sincerity and authenticity, and how it has resonated and the results from that. I mean, people would come and drive from Illinois, northern Indiana, to buy monuments or to prearrange. There are families that lived in Nashville, Tennessee, who we did not serve. Obviously, we weren't located there, but they wanted us to be a part of the celebration for their loved one. And they would, and they requested us do that because of the content, because of us meeting one another this way. It's real.
One of the things that James said, so a lot of people were asking in the chat here, just for him to clarify some things. And he says the main thing he's concerned about is a total lack of professionalism, and that people can't pass basic classes.
Underneath his comment, though, there was another comment from a woman, and I think she said she was 56.
Yeah. So Kelly says that she sees the point. She sees James' point, but she's new into the profession. She is 56. Life experience and maturity are so critically valuable in this field. And, again, I can see both sides to that. Sometimes some folks are so set in a mindset that it actually will hinder you because you're afraid to grow to new and experience new things. But, life lessons makes you be able to relate more to those folks sitting across the table. And you can build that bond and that rapport with them because you've been in their shoes. Sure. Versus someone that is, 18, 19, fresh out of high school, going directly into mortuary school and not having those experiences. I think, a lot of times now we see, with direct disposers or cremation societies and things like that, to where we've made it to where it is, and I can't say much. I can say this because I used to run one, that we make it into a drive-through dollar menu selection. Okay, you only want to pay this. This is all you're getting. You don't get any more. If you want extra sauce, you got to pay extra for the bag of ketchup type thing. And, there are some families that's what they're looking for. But some families truly are looking for a funeral director that is there to walk beside them, not only in the arrangements, and then the next time you're going to see them is when they come in for the first viewing, and then you may pop in to dismiss the funeral service or something like that. They're looking for someone that will walk with them forever, because like I tell folks now, when they call during the first call before I end, I let them know, I'm like, listen, I'm here for you 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. You have my cell phone number. Call me directly. Don't worry if it's 3 o'clock in the morning. If you need to ask a question, ask a question. I'm here for you. As a matter of fact, for the next couple of weeks, I'm going to become a member of your family. And, people, as cheesy as that sounds, people do appreciate that. But you hear so many people, we have to establish boundaries. And I'm not saying you cannot have that work-life balance is not important, because it absolutely is important. You have to know when, but when you're serving a family, I'm available to that family no matter what, no matter where I'm at. That is our responsibility. And that's my 5-second soapbox so far.
I think there's a lot to say to that. There's a lot to unpack, and there's a lot of the challenges that I experienced too in regards to the balancing of, we always want to insert ourselves, right? We want to be wanted and needed, and we want them to like us. We want to take care of them. We want to have them say that we did a good job. I want to address something that Kelly said, and I believe James mentioned, as far as the lack of professionalism. I would agree. However, there's a couple of caveats I want to acknowledge. At 18 and 19, 20 years old, and anybody who's 18 and 19 right now, I mean nothing negative, but we're dumb. We're ignorant. We have little to no experience whatsoever. And that is an opportunity for us to look inside ourselves and to be like, let's be a little bit more patient, gentle, considerate, compassionate, helpful. And the profession is filled with people who at a moment's notice will drop everything for a total stranger. However, the moment that someone in the field or someone who's going into needs something, or is on needs a leg up, rocks. Let's throw the rocks. Let's create burner accounts and talk poorly about them. But also, I don't know of any other profession where you can be a horrible leader, business person, and still have a successful business than the funeral profession. Because if you have a beautiful facility, if your loved one is prepared beautifully, if you speak kindly to the families, if you have respectful offerings and you get your bills paid, your doors stay open. I mean, I know people who have had, I call it baptism by fire. You know it. The people that start working at a funeral home and on day one, it's like, oh my gosh, they're going on like 6 transfers. They don't even know where the transfer van keys are. They don't know where your cot is. They have no idea. And they're like, oh. And then the coworker's like, figure it out, buddy. I mean, that's how it works.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah, we went through hell, so we're going to put you through hell.
We say it all the time.
Absolutely. We always did it that way, so that's how you got to do it.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the whole, and this is where we are burning out. This is where the new licensees, the next bench, the next wave, we're burning them out, because it's like, I was so abused, mistreated, and this, that, and the third as an apprentice or something. So I'm going to do that. Now, I through any place, full disclosure, I never experienced that in any of my apprenticeships. So that's not coming from my perspective, but I have seen it, where you run the apprentice wild. You make them do this, you make them do that, and you don't give them time to breathe. And then if they do come and ask a question, it's, well, what did they teach you in school? Let's just say it. Let's just say it. What does school do? School teaches you and prepares you to pass the national board exam. That is it.
That's it.
That is it.
Yeah.
So it is your job as the preceptor to teach this person, to, and you know what? I will take a green funeral director any day of the week and twice on Sunday, because I don't have to break bad habits.
Right.
You can mold that person to the director, to the standards that you have, because you're not going to hear, well, we didn't do it that way at XYZ. Mm-hmm. And then you got to have that conversation when you're not at XYZ anymore. Now you're at Wagner-Elfner and Burke, or you're Wagner-Elfner and Hartgardens, and this is the way we're going to do it.
Right.
So let's see here.
I'm watching some of these people. Someone just said nice shirt, by the way, but I don't know if they were talking about yours, probably.
That's my other drop dead thread shirt.
Black, sorry,
So somebody did ask, and I am going to leave this in your wheelhouse, Nathan, what you want to say or how you want to handle this. They ask, and man,
it was up a little bit ago.
Here it is. So it's from
Nathan, could you say why you had your license suspended temporarily a few years ago? Yes. The great thing about the great thing about when this has been the worst experience and the best experience of my life, because I'm 41 now, and it took 41 years to not care what people say or think. A couple of years ago, as I was going through the divorce, which is nearly 5 years, I don't wish divorce on anybody, by the way. It's the worst. I was hiring another individual, and that individual was going to be moving from East Kentucky. In the interim, they allowed us to pick up their licenses, and it was a two-hour trip there, 2-hour trip back, making it 4 hours. I had 11 locations, so a location manager of the facility that needed those licenses to name that person the location manager, if you follow what I'm saying, they had to get them to that location. So location manager handling it with that funeral director. All the paperwork was getting started. As far as I went on about my life and day, and next thing I know, this individual that gave the licenses said that we got the licenses without their permission, and then that I forged documents that I didn't forge. And the great thing about it is it all comes out, and we'll let the legal system, and I know that a lot of the people that are involved in this watch everything genuinely, and they're probably on this now. And to which I say hello, Danielle, and hello, Tim and Tom, and all the people that were a part of that. I think it's really important to acknowledge what people don't know about you, they make up. And mediocrity is where everybody wants you to be, because if you step out of the line, like I was talking about earlier, you're different, and you shine a light on that mediocrity. So they will cast stones, and then they'll continue to create the narrative that they need to create to make it what it needs to be. And I have had moments of the utmost hopelessness and helplessness, because when you are in a profession for licensed since almost 15 years, it's an identity. It is the thing. You don't retire from funeral service, you die. And when something so abrupt as that you're so in the fog about, why did this happen? How did this happen? Because 11 funeral homes, I believe at one point it was like 54 full-time employees. And then you have a Kentucky board who is supposed to support you, and they're working in cooperation with individuals. And then they aren't willing to listen and to hear and to see. And then, and they throw you to the wolves and make an example out of you. And who are you without the thing? Right? Who's Bob Ross if you took his paintbrush away?
Yeah.
And so there were days, nights even, you don't even want to go, like keep going. There were people in the funeral profession who people, if you don't know what a trade embalmer is, people who are in the chat, a trade embalmer is a professional that is someone who essentially is a staff member that comes in and cares for your loved ones. If you have an influx of loved ones that come in that need to have preparation and people need a break, then you would call them. And for this individual has children, have sons. So this man is an example to his sons, who paid his bills, light bills, no telling how many times, who I respected. They were sending memes, like photos of, and mocking me, people in the profession.
Yeah.
And so, I think people are not going to, that's why you have the only thing I think of is like Democrat, Republican, people are going to disagree. Right. Mm-hmm. So whatever, but I think being a decent human being is pivotal regardless. Right. And so that was a time of feeling such hopelessness, but the best thing that I ever did was not say anything, not speak, and to allow the story to kind of unravel.
No response is a response.
Absolutely.
It's so powerful. And so, the blowback from that has been catastrophic. I have 4 boys.
Yeah, I was
And
going to say I remember seeing like your kids and social media with you, you know.
yeah, you're fighting for, you're dealing with the custody stuff and the divorce stuff, and then all that's going on, and people who are involved in that, like, I think what it has done, this is full stop, not about me. This is bigger than me, because life isn't about me. It's not about Chris. It's not about Katharine. It's not about us as people. It's about you. It's about dying to yourself literally every day and choosing to serve other people. That
Yeah.
is life. That is the most fulfilling thing in the entire world. I've had everything, and then overnight,
Gone.
The person that people would come to and listen to every thought, idea, a thought leader in the profession, the biggest of companies that you can name in funeral service, would call all the time. And then just because someone said something, they turn their back. So my point in all of it is, it doesn't matter what people say or think. You have to keep going. And funeral service, it doesn't define me. Having a license doesn't define me. It took a really long time. I'll tell you that right now. I'm serious. It took a really, really long time. But, the beautiful thing in all of it, it's the best thing that happened to me too, because it offered perspective. Because the people that come into the doors, their clothes are dirty. You love them anyway.
Yep.
If they don't have any teeth because of poor decisions that they made, you freaking love them anyway. And you don't assume anything anymore. You know how we write stories for people? Oh, I bet they do this, or what an idiot for that. That honestly is almost non-existent in my mind, because we haven't a clue. We haven't a clue. And just because I say it all the time, tenure doesn't mean trust. And just because someone sits on a board, it doesn't mean that they are the individual that you should look to.
No.
Because some of the people, thankfully, after 3 years of sitting quietly for a long time, after that all unravels, I'll stop. I yield my time, but that's the first time I've really spoken, other than one video where I brought receipts. But people are going to say what they say, and it'll be their story for forever, and that's great.
But here's the thing, and I will always say this: there's their side, there's their side, and then there's the truth.
Two opposing things can still be true.
Yeah.
Some people, that's fact. That's fact. But that is the story of the suspension, falling on the sword for a team member who ultimately throws people to the wolves. And that's between him and God.
Yep.
It wasn't between you and them anyway. And that's a prayer. Do you know the Mother Teresa prayer about that prayer?
No.
Well, while you talk, I want to find it, because I would love to fully circle back and end with that after, but please.
And then Colleen did say she thanked you for tackling her question, and that she does respect that.
I appreciate that, Colleen. Thank you for asking that, because people don't ask questions. They like to fill in the story. We do that in our minds. We like to, we see Z and we're like, how'd that get there? Oh, okay, well, this probably happened in whatever story. This is Mother Teresa, whether you pray or not. I say this to people who find my content, and whether you pray, don't pray, whether you meditate, don't meditate. I think it's important for people to know that I meet them where they are, but this is something, these words are super powerful. She traveled and met with some of the most poorest, sickest of people. And she said this prayer, it turned into more of a prayer, but it was once a quote from her. And she said, people are often unreasonable, irrational, and self-centered. Forgive them anyway. If you are kind, people may accuse you of selfish, ulterior motives. Be kind anyway. If you are successful, you will win some unfaithful friends and some genuine enemies. Succeed anyway. If you are honest and sincere, people may deceive you. Be honest and sincere anyway. What you spend years creating, others could destroy overnight. Create anyway. If you find serenity and happiness, some may be jealous. Be happy anyway. The good you do today will often be forgotten, but do good anyway. Give the best you have, and it will never be enough. Give your best anyway. In the final analysis, it is between you and God. It was never between you and them anyway. And I live by that.
That's deep.
That.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know,
I know. It's like that's mic drop. I mean, it's so beautiful. It's the most human thing, because we are all on the same page. It doesn't matter where we come from. We literally want to feel a part of a community. We want to love and be loved. How we go about that may be a little different, maybe a lot different, but that's literally that's it.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just, maybe it's being blissfully naive at this point, but I don't think so.
There are good people, and we see it every day. When we're dealing with a family, there might be folks that come in there, again, stages of grief. They're in anger now, and then they're going to sit down with us, and by the time you're done, they're the most amazing people in the entire world. Whether it's at the end of the actual committal service, or you're done at the end of the arrangements, whether it's direct cremations or not, and you've taken that load off of them. It's like, here, I'm going to carry this for you now. You trust me enough to carry this for you. And we see how, you think that somebody's going to be so horrible and so mean, or this is going to be the worst set of arrangements we've ever had to make. And it's just because of where they currently are. And as you sit there and you talk to them, and you're kind, you're an ear to just listen. Sometimes as funeral directors, we are the punching bag.
Yeah.
Yes.
Really good way to put it.
What's the one example that you can think of where a family has just rocked you and you're like, what is that about? Because I get it. There's nowhere to put the grief. So let's just take it out on this person. What's something that you recall that you're like, what in the world? And you have to sit with that we can laugh at now.
Oh man. Just for, again, from the previous role and things like that, it's just certain families, you're just sitting there and you're like, I'm just a funeral director. I'm not a referee. This is a suit and tie. I'm not wearing a white and black striped shirt. And, I'll never forget, even before I was licensed, I was just, an associate and working a visitation, and like fist fights breaking out. And I'm just like, what do you do? And, the director at the time, she just looked at me and said, you just call the police and stand in the corner. That's all you can do. And it's just, funeral service is never the same every day.
Never.
It is because every family is different, so you never know what you're going to walk into at all.
Katharine, do you have being a woman, and I love this, women are rock stars. Do you feel a very easy or ability to easily connect with everyone? Or
yeah,
that's okay. Yeah.
I
was going to take it even a step further. It's like, because females, like female employees, right? Sometimes you have I don't know if that's with families even too, but I feel that women are naturally nurturing, non-threatening. You all are far easier, I feel like, to connect with. Maybe I'm wrong, but
I feel like, and Chris knows this. I mean, it's every time we have a family come through those doors now at the funeral home, it's, hey, we watch your social media content, or, oh, you're the lady that we see on the billboards or watch on Facebook. So they already know me in a way, and we can connect. Now, of course, we have two other funeral directors, and I'm now starting to get back into funeral directing. Now that we're finally in this new location, we don't have to pick out wallpaper and carpet and all that stuff. I can get back to doing what I truly love. But I do find it very easy for me to connect with people. And I do have a background in sales. I was in sales for 12 years. So, it's never fake. I think it's truly genuine. And I think that families can pick up on that. But, there are some families that you do kind of have to win over, or you do have to just, you can't go in and hug them right away, but at the end of the arrangement, they're going to come up to you and hug you. But yeah, I mean, just of course, back to social media, building that foundation and building that trust and rapport before they even need us. And then when they need us, it's like, oh my gosh, I know you. I'm comfortable with you.
Right. I want to ask you all a question about social media and being the operators of your location. You all believe in it. It works. You said you had 2 employees at that location. There has to be that element of buy-in too. Now, whenever I just want to give a little bit of context, not to make this, but when I first went viral, it was on a fluke. And virality doesn't even matter, because the goal is ultimately the community people, right? The cool content that educates, that's great and all, but you want the people in your community to be educated on that cool content, most importantly.
Yep.
But when we first went viral, I brought the group of people that were in the office where my office was, and I said, this is what happened. This is what my thinking is, but I will not proceed if this is not something that you all are on board with. And they were fully on board. They bought in. Obviously, as the owner, they didn't have to, and I could still do it. So I guess my question is one, are they totally all about it too, as well, or do they struggle with it? And 2, what are your thoughts to that point on getting people bought in?
I would love to see our other directors get in more of our content, but the reality is I'm the one that's doing all the recording at our location on site. Of course, we partner with Disrupt Media and we'll do recording sessions with them, but that means I have to follow them around with the camera, and I don't have the time to do that. Now, like Chad and I set up a camera probably about a month ago, and we posted the video last night. Monday nights is, it's the key time for us to post at 9:00. And so we posted a video, and I think the last time I checked, it was upwards of 360,000 views.
That's nothing. That's just
and it'll keep going. Addie, I think, was a little shy at first. She kind of likes to, stay in her own space. And I get that. And I never want to push it, but she had a couple of videos that she did talking about makeup and different processes and procedures in the prep room. And they performed really, really well. And then I give them feedback like, hey, these are the comments that are coming through. Or anytime we get any feedback about our directors, I always let them know, whether it's on social media or text or whatever. I'm not one of those people that's going to sit there and take credit for their work. They did the work. They're deserving of it. They're the ones that got grandma ready and did the makeup. They need to hear how happy that family is.
That's awesome. And someone said social media isn't for everyone, and you highlight it. But yeah, I agree with that. I mean, I really do. I also think that being bought into something is a valued thing as well.
Now, I have a question for you, because you talked about the video that went viral. What platform were you on?
I had 33 followers on TikTok. I had 6 videos posted. The last one before the video went viral was me singing to my now 5-year-old, but he's like 8 years old or 8 months old at the time. We had just started creating the silos of all of the individual funeral homes. So we had the Morris family, and then we had all the funeral home social media accounts. And so we were building those out, and I had just given a tour to the high school seniors from my alma mater. It's a private Catholic school, so it was very much like this faith-based scenario. You're Mr. Smith, you just died. I know you know that magically, poof, abracadabra, they're in the casket when you come in for first view. I want to show you what happens behind the curtain. And so I was showing them, and it is to this day one of the most fun things that I got to do, because just the questions, just being able to really ease some anxiety about that, especially for young adults, and because there's so much nervousness about it. But that tour was filmed, and so it was just cut up unbeknownst to me and posted on my TikTok. And it went bananas, and then the rest is literally history. I've shown up every day for however many years and 3 videos a day.
Wasn't there was one video, and it just came across my feed the other day, like you were explaining, you were in the prep room, and it was like, I guess some seniors or everybody, they were definitely students, and you were explaining like you were showing like, do you know what this is? And it was even display, and you were talking about like COVID-19 and stuff like that. Was that one of the original videos?
That was a different one. I did a collab with a friend, Napples. I don't know if anybody knows who that is in Apples, and she's all over the place and doing cool stuff with like NFL now. But she was getting a tour of one of the funeral homes. And I was like, this is display, and talked about that. People are so intrigued by that stuff. I mean,
I was waiting for people to want to gargle it during COVID-19, even not the decedent. It's just like, better safe than sorry.
It was so crazy. Just some of the things. I have so many. I'm sure you do too. COVID-19 stories, and I know people lost so much, whether it was a loved one or whatever. But I think
I was serving my apprenticeship during COVID.
Yeah. Oh Lord, were you? Oh yeah, you said you had a good experience. So you didn't have like.
So I will explain. So this may be why I had my good experience. So literally, my preceptor, who was the owner of the funeral home, I got March. I got my apprenticeship license, and then like 2 weeks later, everything shut down, and it was so bad. Like, so my preceptor, health wise, the owner of the funeral home, I did not see her for the entire year. She worked from home. So I worked under a delegate of hers who was another funeral director at the funeral home to
How do you do this from home? I mean, I understand you could arrange virtually. I get that, but
we did the funeral. Her daughter, who was a vice president of the company, would come in every day, and those types of things. But her, because of some health things, and it was just from home. So it was definitely it was an experience. I remember I looked like the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man wearing those Tyvek suits, trying to set features for IDs, and it's just like you look back on it, it's like, yeah, no,
it's wild to think about, honestly.
So I do want to say, a lot of people are saying about social media is not for everybody, and I want to clarify this with Katharine here, is that she does not force any of the directors to make content. It's not, you work here, you have to make content. It is, if they want to make content, they're more than welcome to make content. Katharine never forced me to make content.
Nope.
I'm down at the Wagner-Elfner and Harkins location, and there's only me. So you come there, that's who you get. That's it. But it's not about saying, okay, because you work here, you have to do this. We're going to make you become, a social media star type thing like that. That's not at all how Katharine or Nate run their business or expectations. Chad and Addie are phenomenal funeral directors, and families absolutely love them. And some people just aren't comfortable with being on camera. They don't want that. They just want to be funeral directors. And there's nothing wrong with that. But for owners, I want to explain to you, there is a true value. It's not that we do this because, again, we say it all the time. We're not rolling in the plethora of monetization money here. We still work full-time jobs. We have families to support and things like that. And social media just doesn't cut that. We do this. It is truly a labor of love because of the amount of just vitriol and hate and nastiness. There have been so many comments that come through in regards to Katharine because she's a female, and maybe something that the red legging comments.
My gosh, the internet lost its mind the day I wore red leggings on a Saturday in my own funeral home.
How dare you? That's my tagline whenever people like to throw rocks. How dare you?
Yeah.
And so I just wanted to really clarify that. So we're not saying that if social media is not your thing, that's fine.
Yeah.
But find something that is your thing.
And I do think Chad, I think, enjoys doing some social media. He is great at educating. He had a video that we put out on YouTube where he talked about embalming and just the entire process. And it performed really, really well. It did great. But it's never pushed on anyone. I just happen to be the one that you get to see on social media because I handle it.
Right.
Funeral home.
I mean, it's Chris
does his thing, and Harkins is Chris's baby, and we trust him to do whatever he wants to do with that funeral home.
Yep.
It's the lane. Find your lane. Find what you love and be nerdy about it. If you love the educational aspect, and every once in a while you want to come in and share your insight on a social media video, you're right. I mean, Chris, you said it. That the goal is not virality and stardom, because a verified check mark literally means nothing.
Yeah.
It means that you've created enough content that's, or you have a website and people are like, okay, that's the real. The point is like, why are you
for it?
Up?
Yeah, I was just going to say it's not cheap either. It's ridiculous.
I didn't pay for it. No, I didn't pay for it, but getting there, it doesn't matter. It doesn't change anything.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, it's like, what do you have to offer? Like, what are you offering? Why are you continuing to show up? You know? And I think that with anything, if people are excited about what they're sharing, even if it's in just the four walls, but if it's but the need for the content, it's finding the people. In this instance, luckily, Katharine, you and Chris are the people that are able to scream from the rooftops the why, the how, the what you do.
Yeah.
It's just, it is vital for sure. And it is awesome to have us. My chair is going to break. I almost fell over on this live.
We would go viral.
That would absolutely go viral.
And I would clip that, and that would be
happened.
Like on every social.
Oh my gosh. I don't even know what I was saying at that point.
So somebody did ask, I get it's again, the chat just blowing up. So, but somebody did say that they are from Kentucky and that they love you down there, Nathan. And they wanted to ask about, your songwriting. If you could talk about your songwriting.
Yeah. A couple people have asked about your music.
That's amazing. Well, thank you very much. Whenever I was 8 years old, I started singing, and very quickly in life, I was going to be a famous touring musician. I was always saying I was going to be the next JB. I was going to travel the world and captivate fans and start writing songs. And that came from a broken family. And so I would write about what I knew. And I learned that pretty quickly. The authentic stuff is the stuff that you can actually speak to. And I went through the world in the music industry, signed, dropped. And I came home from LA in 2010 with my tail between my legs. So I was in a production deal, and it was just like going nowhere. It sounds cool. I mean, it was cool, right? I guess I'll become a normal person. And so I started working at a funeral home, which is the least normal of normal, I guess. But I, continued to write. And I think it's the thing that if I'm not creating, I don't feel, and it sounds over dramatic, but fully alive, right? We have these things inside of us that set us on fire. And you think about them all the time, whether it's knitting sweaters or you just love to study how someone throws a curveball. I don't know. That's the thing. That's a passion. That is something that absolutely is a thing you should lean into. Regardless, you could say and give excuses why not. But if you aren't doing that thing, I think you're doing the world a disservice. You can still be an administrative assistant because you have bills to pay. I get it. You're not going to maybe make $1 billion learning how to throw the perfect curveball. But it's a gift, or it's a passion that you have, and that's something that you should share. For me, songwriting. And during COVID, I wrote a song called Yet that got picked up on radio, and it went to number 15 at Billboard on the adult contemporary charts, and then another song. And so it was just like the story in the song, the thing that I thought made me a failure, which was I'm going to be this pop artist. And then I go and become the funeral professional. And then it's the funeral profession, which actually catapulted the music. It was just this full circle thing. And so songwriting is very much part of my life. And the story that I was asked about from Colleen was actually I have a new single that's going to be releasing August 14th that I believe is going to define me as a human, but also my career. And it's based on all of that. And that's where I write from. I mean, I think you can't have a beautiful funeral without a beautiful song. You can't have a beautiful song without experiencing heartache and loneliness and sadness and loss and grief. And I'll die on that hill. So it's just who I am. It's a part of. So anybody who has a thing that they love to do, I encourage, do the thing. That's what I say.
Well, what's that old saying? If you find something that you truly love to do, you never work a day in your life.
Yeah, absolutely. I
You
don't
know,
believe that we were not. I think that society has kind of made us think that we must punch in and do the thing and then punch out. I mean, like, you can be happy. Like, you can go through life and be
please.
happy.
Yeah. So there is a question, and I'm curious to see your guys' thoughts on this. So Mary Del Trent says, how do you know if your local funeral homes have a good embalmer without attending several funerals of people that you don't know? And she said, I hope this question makes sense.
Makes perfect sense to me.
I don't know how to answer this.
I don't either. I think that is a question that stumps us, and I think it's such a delicate and selfless process, and artistic process and private process that you obviously aren't able to shine the specific light on per se. But
because I know,
I don't know.
Because I mean, anybody that would ask you in arrangements, are you going to embalm her? Everybody that's sitting on the other side of the table is going to say, absolutely. I'm God to this profession.
I embalmed 76 bodies yesterday. I always go to, just so you know, every time I become a country 79-year-old man, I'm quoting a funeral. Yeah, guys, we had 76 funerals yesterday.
You know, I'm going to be totally honest here. When it comes time to embalm someone who's had an autopsy, if I have all the time in the world, will I do it? Yes. Am I confident in my skills 95% of the time? But we also have a great trade embalmer. And I know my time is best spent on paperwork and working with that family. So I would much rather call the trade embalmer in so that he could work on that person and give them the time that they deserve rather than letting my ego get in the way.
And that, I mean, I think that's key as funeral professionals is knowing where
you'll do a far better job than I will.
Yeah, knowing where your strengths, knowing where your weaknesses are, and knowing how to play off that with one another on the team, or whether it be a trade embalmer or something like that. You know, because the family deserves the absolute best.
Yeah.
But the sad part about it is the narcissism and the egos and all this other bull crap that in this profession, prohibits that from happening.
Right.
So the sad part is unless you actually go to services or pop in for visitation and just sign the book and get a card, and you may not have known the person from Adam, nobody's going to know. And see what you're looking to see and then walk away. That's the only way you're really going to make an informed decision on your own, because you're never going to get honest feedback because everybody's going to say they're the best.
I really like, Katharine, your answer. I think a professional, a really good embalmer, is the embalmer that is able to say, I can be more efficient if I call a really good embalmer.
Yeah.
Yep.
I think that is a beautiful way to say it.
We have good people on our team. And I'm also not one of those owners that says, well, I don't want to spend the $500 to pay the trade embalmer.
I'm laughing just because it's like, if there are like 17 statements that could just be regurgitated and all over the country amongst this profession. It's like,
yeah,
we've always done it this way.
Right. Exactly.
So she also asked, is there any way to research your local funeral homes? We have 4 here. I'm trying to do pre-need.
Is someone raising their hand? I can't tell. Does someone want to answer that question?
I have an answer. I have 2 answers. Okay. Are they proactive on social media? Not the template photo posts.
Yes.
Are they proactive on social media? Okay, that'll narrow down probably 3 of them. The next thing that you do is you go into them. It might sound weird. I know it's not like something you want to do on a Tuesday. Go into them. Do you have a good feeling? You know how you go in? I was at Whole Foods today getting turkey. The lady, amazing. She was so kind. Like, that was a cool lady. But I've been to other places. where I'm like, I'm not judging, but I didn't feel like a warm and fuzzy. And you're not going to feel that way about everybody, right? You connect with people differently. So if there are 4, I'm assuming that you might connect with one more than the other. And that's how you can that's how you can find out who you would, I was going to say bro out with. I didn't mean it that way, but who you want to have that connection.
Google searching would be helpful.
Google
I wish
reviews.
more people would do that here in York County. There's going to be bad apples in every group, but you got to do your research. Can you get on the PALS website, Chris?
Yeah,
I mean, you have to.
So most states, you can go to the state websites, you can look to see. But again, and this is a prime example with Nathan. And Nathan, you can tell me to stay in my lane or shut up. But everything you see on those websites doesn't mean it's 100% true. Because disciplinary orders are public record.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's so true. And you can, that's why I said the second thing is to go for yourself. Go shake hands and talk to people, because it's so important. Having a human conversation is not, I don't know where that, ask questions. I think it's important. I would love for people to ask questions.
Mm-hmm.
Genuine, why or how or what. You and I both know that people walk in the 4 walls of your funeral home and they want to tour, or they want to know about something hanging on the wall. Your chest puffs up and you're like, come on in. Let's, you want to show them everything. You want to talk about that reupholstered chair that you did 6 months ago because it's the coolest thing that you've ever seen.
How phenomenal have the open houses been, Katharine?
Amazing. We're going to keep going with them too.
People love them.
And it's just opening your doors. It's, I've always said it from day one when I started down in Delta, that if my car is out front and, the lights are on at the funeral home, stop in.
Yeah.
If you just want to stop in, I'll turn on a pot of coffee. I love coffee. We can sit down, we can chat. We don't even got to talk about funeral service. If you just want somebody to talk to and we want to talk about what the weather's like, or you want to complain about something, I'm here to listen. Because if there's no services going on, there's not much for me to do. So I'd love to talk to you, because that's why sometimes you'll see a ton of batch content where I'm wearing the exact same thing. So I do wear different clothes, folks, if you are ever wondering. But it's just like there's nothing going on. So these are good days for us to batch record content. Let's see.
Cabby just commented. She said it was great to see it in person on Sunday. So she came in
for that's awesome.
One of the open houses. Yep. Yeah, it was great to meet her, because I've seen her on social media for the last, I don't know, year. I see her name pop up and we finally were able to connect, but it was like we knew each other.
Well, that's cool. I saw Dawn Myers is in the chat.
She was at the open house Sunday.
All of a sudden, we, funeral home and get a call that there's like this giant box of cookies. And I posted the cookies on our social media page. Those cookies were awesome. It was weird eating myself, but hey, to each is their own. But
I bet the Chris cookie was delicious.
That's what my wife says.
I bet it was. I would love a Chris cookie. And I mean PG-13 the most masculine way. Send one down here to Kentucky.
And James makes another good point here. Look at the Google reviews and talk to hospice agencies.
Hospice agencies, yes. Talk to pastors, because pastors are referring to.
Oh man, I miss when pastors didn't want to drive their own car. That window time sitting next to pastors, man, going to the cemetery at 10 miles per hour was priceless. And we lose that now, because 9 out of 10 times they would take their own vehicle or something along those lines. I loved sitting there with the clergy. That was and then you got some great stories too that you'll never divulge, but you got some great stories.
I'll divulge a story that this is how me and this priest became buddies. It was perfect. So what I would try to do is I had a lead vehicle, I had the lights, and it was an SUV. And so I would drive the pastors and priests whenever I were able. In this particular day, taking the funeral. I'm actually leading this funeral. And it was at a location that it was a one-way street. We literally, the church was diagonal, but just the opposite way. So we couldn't go back. We couldn't go the wrong way. So we had to go around the block. Anyway, the priest gets in the vehicle and he's slow stepping to get in. And I'm like, what is he doing? And the next thing I know is he throws and in my lap falls a tampon. I swear. And I was like, he goes, I don't need that. And I was like, that's amazing. And we became buddies.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it was. It was a tampon and threw it. So every single time I had a funeral with him, I would make sure there was a tampon in the seat.
You know, Nathan, normally I only offer like holy water and sand to the priest. I now need to add, hygiene products, I guess, to our repertoire.
I think it's amazing. I mean,
oh my gosh.
We have a ton of female staff. Probably drive. I have no idea what happened, but it was amazing. It was just a great opportunity to laugh.
And he probably said it. I'm just imagining like straight face, like, oh, I don't need that here.
Oh, he loved it because, he goes through motions sometimes too. He didn't know if it was this, stiff funeral director that's just going to be like kind of boring and stoic. And he's a human, and it was probably a nice break from.
They're people too.
Yeah. Yeah.
One time,
nice little giggle.
One time, towards the end of the service, one of the guys went out to start the hearse up, and my Spotify connected to the hearse, and the pastor got in, and I got in, and I see my Spotify on the screen, and like the title of the song it just made me want to just curl up in a ball and die. And I was like, I am so sorry.
Can you divulge what the song was, or would you rather not?
I would rather not, but I think it was something by Nicki Minaj.
That's amazing.
Yeah, but luckily it was like, it's okay. Like I
love it.
If you even go back through some of Katharine's old reels that are out on social media, it's like her Spotify playlist will connect in the car, and she's like, "Oh, that's the real Katharine. That's after 5 p.m. Katharine."
So you like you like the hip hop R&B stuff?
I listen to everything. Like I'll listen to, Motown, country. I listened to some of your stuff when I was at the beach. I was walking on the beach. I thought I'm going to turn this stuff on. I'm going to turn his music on.
Give it a shot. Yeah.
Yeah, I liked it. I liked it. You're great at what you do. But I'll listen to everything. Incubus. It really depends on my mood.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dave Matthews. I love Dave Matthews.
Yeah. Dave Matthews. Yes. There's so much, like right now, there's so much. Music is so, you could get it everywhere. Anybody can make music. You don't have to have a lot of incredibly expensive equipment because the technology and so forth. There's no reason for people who want to create to not create rather. But country right now, I've been a huge country fan for the last year. I love the songwriting. I know that a lot of people are like, oh, the Dixie Cup and but it's so creative. Speaking of,
it's a therapeutic outlet too, man.
There's a song I want you all, and I love challenging people with music, the song, and people get so riled up in my content about music. They get so mad and they're like, they should be able to pick whatever they want. I'm not mocking them because I'm like, exactly. That's the whole point. That's what I'm trying to say. Because if it's a karaoke song that would make them, the person that we're celebrating, laugh, but it makes everyone who's in attendance, and they're like, I remember seeing them at the bowling alley singing that karaoke song every Wednesday night, for half price pint night. I don't know, but I love music, and I love the director challenging themselves to be a little more eclectic in their, I don't want to say knowledge of, because not everybody's well versed in music, but knowing that there's more than just Go Rest High. Right?
Oh my God.
If
Dancing in the Sky.
Again, yeah.
Yes. Oh.
Did you say Dancing in the Sky?
Yes.
My head literally started just going. not even any other part of the melody, but
yeah.
So there was a question back at while you're looking for what you're looking for, Nathan, back at like 7:11 p.m. when we first started, and the question says, it's from Gina. what made all of you want to be funeral directors? So, Katharine, do you want to go first?
Ladies first.
Well, around the age of 13 is when I realized I wanted to be a funeral director. And that was the age where we lost my great grandmother. And it was always just something that kind of stuck with me. But looking back, even in my early 20s, I wasn't emotionally ready for this. I wasn't mature enough to handle what we do. But I think, you give a lot of yourself in funeral service. And for me, mine's are really, it's really personal, and I don't know how in depth I want to go into it, but, I have a lot of love to give, and you give a lot of that in funeral service. You give a lot of yourself.
Yes.
I talk about funeral service all the time and how this is my calling, and this is my thing. And I love it. People are probably like, well, where are her kids? Where are her family? I was meant to be a mom. I'm a nurturer. You hear me talk about funeral service a lot, though, but I do feel like I was put on this earth to, be not only a mother to my 2 boys, but to serve others and to care for others. And I also see now, with social media, that we have an opportunity to bring light to what we do, what is right, what is wrong. And like I said a few minutes ago, there are a lot of bad apples in funeral service, and the people that typically push back on our content, Chris, we talked about this today. I'm in my prep room and I'm showing off the prep room, and people are like, "Oh my gosh, that's a sacred space. You shouldn't be in there." I can only imagine what their prep rooms look like. No wonder you don't want to show your prep room, because it looks like absolute trash, and because you don't, take care of it. But I'm proud of my prep room.
Absolutely.
I'm going to show it off.
Absolutely.
So but I have a lot of love to give. I'm a nurturer. I'm very emotional. And I think you give a lot of yourself and a lot of love in funeral service. And I love it. I would do it in my second life. I wish I would have done this earlier in life, because I love it.
And that's exactly why self-care for funeral professionals is so critical and important. And having, like resources, like anybody that we've ever had on this, on our platform, on our show or something, that I consider a friend. So being able to reach out and vent and talk to somebody that's been there, that goes through, they're in the trenches with you, that's been there with you and experienced those types of things. There's something very important about that, and being able to do that. And then just taking time to go be with your family. So like I said, work-life balance is important. But then we turn around, and when we share that we're out with our family, we get criticized. Oh, that's all we got. It just happened, Katharine, did it not? By another licensed funeral director told you.
I have a story.
Yeah.
So
I love stories.
Yeah. So I posted the pictures of us away at the beach. I'm like, you know what? We're on our platform. I can say whatever. Screw it. I'm posting pictures because I'm proud to be with my family. We care for individuals every single day who thought they had tomorrow, and they don't. They didn't. They didn't wake up. So I'm going to embrace this and spend time with my family. And I really elaborated on that post about how a funeral director had reached out to me. And I don't think it was, I don't think that he was being malicious when he did it, but it was, you might want to reconsider posting, because people could take this as, you've made money off their grief and now you're vacationing with it. Well, here's the thing. We were at my in-laws condo.
Free.
Right? Free, right?
I guess free.
we were in Ocean City. I wasn't like cruising the Mediterranean or anything, but someone saw it and went to my father. Now, mind you, I'm going to be 40 years old this year. Someone went to my father, and then my father's calling my husband saying, "Hey, you guys are posting on social media that you're away." And my dad my dad's 70 and I love him, but he does not understand how social media works. And I'm like, did the person even explain what I had posted about? Or did they just see that we were on vacation and decided to complain about it to him? I don't know, but I'm deserving of going away, just as you are, Nathan, just as you are, Chris, just as anyone else who works.
Yeah, it's like it's like a 6-chapter book, and they read the first page of the foreword, and they're like, "Oh, this book sucks."
Yeah,
but 6 chapters ago,
we all none of us work for free. We earn a paycheck, we earn revenue. Well, hold on. I'm not an owner. I know both of you have been owners, and I'm sure there have been times as owners. So let me rephrase that. There are times when owners work for free because they have
Five
to
and a
put,
half years, didn't even draw a salary.
you know what
Oh,
I mean?
6 years.
So
Yeah.
I
No,
wanted to
5 years,
retract that
didn't draw.
real
Yeah.
quick because there are times that owners go without, especially during slow spouts, to make sure that their team and their staff and all of their employees continue to receive a paycheck. And that is very important. That is something that is not ever really discussed. So that is something we're going to have to circle back with one time, Katharine, maybe when it's just you and I on one of our pop-ups or something about that, because I think that's a very important topic to discuss.
Yep, definitely.
People taking care of people and letting them know how much you appreciate them and value them. And they literally don't have to work. I don't want to say for you, but that's the only way I can articulate it in the context that you're talking about.
Yeah.
And we have 2 other funeral directors at our location. So there's 3 of us. Do we need 3 of us? Probably not. Right. But we also have a really nice work-life balance. And I was serving 100 families a year.
Yeah.
80 of those were probably traditional service families. We're in a very, the area, I mean, of course, things are changing with cremation, but we are still finding that in our area and the demographic we serve, they prefer traditional burial, but 100 families a year is a lot. And so this year, I think we're projected to serve maybe, I'm going to say 150 families. But with 3 of us, it's great. Addie's taking off tomorrow. She's going to Hershey Park. I probably won't go in tomorrow. I can finish up, the rest of my work from home. And
well, it's like I got stuff going on Thursday where me and my daughter are going away for the weekend and all like that. But, and
we all work together. Like if you need me to take phones, I'll take phones, whatever.
How many times has it been, hey, I'm getting ready to get on the plane to grab the phones for me. And then 9 out of 10 times, even when Katharine's on vacation, as soon as she lands, she'll be like, okay, I got the phones back.
That's amazing. That's really cool and special. I think it's also something that because I know there's a lot of people in the funeral profession on this, and I want to point this out because I think it's important. We will. I love it.
Caitlin
coming in with the cherry on top. I love that. That's awesome. The people in the profession, the funeral world of tending to others, selfless and genuine, authentic desire to care for them at the cost of, right? At the cost of us sometimes. So sleep, definitely health. Personally speaking is what I'm going to be able to speak to. Mental health. Outside of their 4 walls, it can get to a point if you are not emotionally, I don't want to say intelligent, but in tune. Inside the 4 walls, you can control, right? There's this element of, sure, it might be chaotic. You got a bunch of first calls coming in, loved ones to care for, tend to, casket, get them in the chapel. But you have your finger on the pulse there. And maybe if things are off a little bit outside of those 4 walls, maybe the family dynamic or there's something going on outside of, I can see, and I've seen it numerous times, including myself, where you go back into the 4 walls. It can be chaotic out there. I don't have as much control, but in here I can. And so I'm just speaking to that for people who I know it will resonate with a lot of people, to be mindful of that, because I think it's important for our health. Because I do believe that we can die to ourselves so much that we forget about ourselves and the needs of others who love us and that we love. And I know that we love our families, the families that call on us and trust us. That, Katharine, you made a good point. You have a lot of love to give. Mm-hmm. But when the sun is setting on our lives, respectfully, I don't believe it will be the Joneses who are surrounding our bedside. It'll be the people that need us and love us so very much, intimately. So I just challenge people in the profession to be mindful of that.
Yeah.
And to receive that love. And I don't know, I went on that tangent, but I think it's really important.
So then back to the original question. What made you want to become a funeral director?
A girl. I mean, I got a tour. Before that, I was 12 years old and my grandfather had died, and this man my family are just looking to him. He had a beard, and they're looking to him, and they're going to him, and everything he said, I watched them with my kid eyes, like, take it in. They trusted him. I was the guy was the funeral director, and then I got a tour of one after I'd gotten back from LA, and I was intrigued. Behind the curtain is just this I don't want to say magical. It's not the right word I'm trying to say. It's so holy. It's divine. And, you know, I take things back to a spiritual thing, but what a selfless act to what, you know, the Bible talks about Jesus washing the feet.
Yeah.
You know, the savior of the world just lowers himself to just wash the feet, probably the dirtiest part of our bodies, just to show an act of reverence. And that is something that we do, not to pat ourselves on the back, but that's pretty profound. It's beautiful. And I shine that light on you all. I'm not saying toot my horn. That's you all. And I think it's beautiful.
You've been there. And I know somebody asked earlier somewhere, you know, like Nathan is still a licensed funeral director. His license is active.
I've thought about just
putting it in the background
just
somewhere,
like having them as my background. Yeah.
You know, so yeah, you've served families. You know, you're still a licensed funeral director, so you're still right there among the rest of us.
I was in mortuary school, so in Kentucky. It was the last year, so I believe you could be in mortuary school and be serving your apprenticeship, but then they stopped it for a few years, where you could not be in mortuary school while serving your apprenticeship. But anyway, I was in mortuary school, and the embalmer on the opposite schedule. So I had an embalmer on my schedule because I'm an apprentice. Mm-hmm. The opposite schedule embalmer left. So then the embalmer on my schedule went to the other schedule. So I'm not a licensed embalmer. I'm an apprentice, being able to perform embalmings. I'm embalming. Like, that was what I did. So I'm in mortuary school. I went to Arapahoe, and it got to the point when I was doing labs where Mr. Rudy Bettman, I believe is how you say his name, and Martha were like, just stand over the table. Because there were people that had not done anything. So I'd just stand there for hours during labs. It was pretty wild. So I definitely, it was baptism by fire.
Okay.
It was absolutely. So yes, yeah, I do know, and I am licensed, and it's not on a Post-it note. It's real. It's signed. it's real.
So, you know, and for me, I shared it before. It's actually back on, I think, the very first live that Katharine and I did. We discussed this, and you know, then the next morning, that's when me and Katharine decided we're gonna start As The Hearse Turns. But you know, I lost my dad from a heroin overdose when I was 11 years old, and I'll never forget going to the funeral home with my brother and the rest of my family. You know, my mom and dad were divorced. So my mom took me to the funeral home and dropped me off because they told my dad's side of the family, said, "You're no longer a Boggs. You're not allowed to be here." And, you know, she's like, "I just want to be here for my son." So they wouldn't even let her come into the funeral home. They let her come to the service eventually, but to go in and make arrangements and all, I felt so overwhelmed. I had no idea what I was doing. You know, I'm just sitting in the corner. My brother, my half brother, you know, he made all the arrangements. And finally the funeral director just looked at me and said, "You know, hey, this is your dad. You know, what do you want? You know, you have a say in what goes on." And, you know, that whole this was back when we had 2 days worth of viewings and a third day funeral and things like that. And, you know, I just hung out with the funeral director. I, you know, kept just living on the coffee at the coffee machine, and his office was right outside the little lounge, and, you know, just would talk to me. And I remember at the committal service, I went up to him after he dismissed everybody. I said, "Can I stay with you until my dad's lowered in the ground?" He said, "Yeah, you can stay with me." And everybody else left, and I stayed there with him until they lowered the casket and they set the vault lit. And, you know, it's just something that always stuck with me. And I always look back at that moment in that time, and I think to myself, the impact he made on me, if I can make that impact on just one person, then my education, everything I've done, all the mistakes I've made, all the good evidence, it is all worth it
Yeah.
as a to be a funeral director.
That's beautiful. I
Yeah.
appreciate you sharing that. And I believe that with every fiber of my being, that it is for him, the man that impacted your life and the trajectory of it. I hope, I doubt it, but I can't, maybe he does know the impact he had on you. But
You know, somebody said during that video in the comments that I should probably reach out to him because he's still.
I had asked you. I
you
said,
know,
"Have you talked to him, or have you gone back?"
No.
Yeah.
His name is Andrew Dow, and he owns Lily and Zyler Funeral Home in Baltimore, Maryland,
Wow.
down in Fells Point.
It is the mundane that we are remembered for. It's not this elaborate, extravagant thing. This man who allows a boy at the time to just be around, who probably, respectfully speaking, could have gotten a lot more done if you weren't.
Yeah.
And you had a lot of probably questions, and you needed a lot more attention than his normal visitor would. But he took the time. And that stuff, that story that you shared, those are the stories, those are the things I think about that really just, they fire me up with such emotion. And I feel it so deeply that, you know, that is the mark. That's our mark. Mm-hmm. Going and brewing a fresh pot of coffee for a neighbor in the community that just stopped in to say hey to you.
Yep.
That is something that impacts and changes lives. Having time for someone. You might be the only person that they speak to all day long. That gives them the time of day. And it doesn't have to be this elaborate, profound thing. But I think it's awesome. And I'm glad that he did that, because it's awesome that we have a professional such as yourself in the profession that represents it so well with such compassion.
You know, one of my biggest influences in our profession was, did you ever get the opportunity to meet Todd Van Beck?
Are you asking me?
Yeah.
I did. I heard him speak 2 times, and one was at convention in, was it Maryland? Was it Baltimore a few years ago? Like in
probably an FDA.
An FDA, yeah.
Yeah, because I think that was right around, you were running like board of directors or something like that. It all collided at the same time.
Yeah.
Yeah. And, you know, I was lucky enough that Todd was an instructor at John A. Gupton when I was going through mortuary school. So I had 18 months of Todd, and Todd's heart for the funeral profession, it was just so contagious, and how he spoke. And he was just this humble little farm guy from Iowa. And, you know, it's just something and that is somebody I always endeavor to be, because he's always like, you know, my job is to make the next generation better than the generation that we have now. And, you know, I got some slack. I posted a video the other day, and I talked about, you know, as funeral directors, the bar is on the floor now, so we need to step over it. And so many people came at me on that one. And I was just like, it's so true, though, right now. It's so true. We're regressing in the profession instead of progressing. And, you know, we need to be there and be able to educate the public and answer their questions, and not hide behind the word secret or not hide behind the word sacred.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that's the cop out.
Yeah. And dignity and all that.
Well, the overused words, the words that people honestly couldn't even define or define their business or service around. It's like, okay, use that word in how in which you care for someone. Please explain.
And, you know, I think that's a great transition, because there are so many phony, fake funeral directors that hide behind a mask that should just get Emmy Award, you know, nominations because of how fake they are and how good of an actor they are. Mm-hmm. They're the cringiest, cruddiest people behind closed doors or in certain circles. You know, we have one here in York County that is pretty much a pedophile that just pays himself he pays the folks to get out of trouble constantly. But but to the public, he's the best thing since sliced bread. He could, the man, to the public, the man could probably walk on water.
You know what's funny is he's probably not the greatest thing since sliced bread. It's just that people still have this herd mentality where they want to feel a part of something, and someone who appears a certain way. I have so much that I could. I almost fell again. Oh my God, I'm leaning sideways now. Oh, pitter patter. Yes. Who Are You When I'm Not Looking is the. Yeah. I mean, obviously, there's an incredible country song after that, but it's real.
You want to talk about integrity? Integrity is what you do when no one's watching.
Absolutely.
And you know, whether. And that's what pisses me off so much. And the next thing you know, you're gonna, if we were to sit here and we were to drop this person's name, you know, next thing you know, we would be getting probably a cease and desist letter, or, you know, this type of stuff, because the pockets are so big. And the worst part about it is the affluent community knows about the shenanigans and stuff, and still continue to call on the man.
I think that says a lot about people too. Like I don't want to support and get behind people that aren't, you know, obviously good people. Not judgment in the sense of, you know, I've already talked about judging. You know, I try really hard not to judge, but you can't support. I think people, Who Are You When I'm Not Looking is a true statement. You know, like I am not infallible as a human. I was an incredible leader and example of leadership, because I cared about the team and I cared about the community, and the way I was on stage and off stage is something for people who are like, whoa, we're talking about someone who is pulled the wool. No, on stage is a Disney approach.
Yes.
You are in public view, your phones aren't out, you're not texting and disconnected. Off stage is where you're able to have a drink or sit and take 5 minutes kind of thing. You know, that is integrity, is being the same person, having the same ways about you. I do believe that people are coming around. This is a twofer. I think people are coming around and seeing and calling out BS and not wanting to put up with it anymore. Slowly, but I think it's happening, which is a good thing. But I also think people have this thought that their opinion matters, like Katharine wearing red leggings on a Saturday. That is literally I don't even know, and I watch your content, know what one you're talking about, but two, not even a thought that would come into my mind. Mm-hmm. I don't know. I think people think that they're I don't know. I know I'm kind of getting all over the place. There's so much to unpack, and that's the beauty of this, right?
You know what? One thing too that I noticed is I never was really on TikTok. I think I was on TikTok for maybe a year, and I'd hop on maybe once a week and scroll for a few minutes.
Folks, Katharine is back on TikTok.
I am. But I don't know. I did something to tick someone off, and I got my account banned because my sister called me and she's like, Did you delete your TikTok? I'm like, no, what are you talking about? She goes, you're not on anymore. So I finally made a new TikTok about 2 weeks ago, and I posted a video, and it was just some goofy video, like with the Netflix theme, you know, like the Netflix trend
I love that.
Right now.
Yeah.
And I have it here. I said,
I love it.
I said, me preparing for my Netflix documentary where I explain that not every funeral director is goth or keeps small animals in jars of formaldehyde on their bedside table. These girls, they're young women, are coming after me in the comments. Like, you would think that I just did the most awful thing by posting about this. And they're telling me that I'm saying that, you know, they can't, you know, you're saying that someone's not a good funeral director if they're goth, or if it's like, it was a goofy video. I never said
you didn't make that video about them.
Yeah, I never said that if you have black hair, you're not a good funeral director. I never said that if you have, you know, a skull tattoo, you're not a good funeral director. I never said that. But these people are unhinged in these comments. But it's funny because I posted the same video on Facebook. Nothing. Crickets.
Because it's a different. So
I'm learning, Chris.
Facebook is where we are engaging with our clientele. TikTok is where we are engaging with the folks that are probably going to be making the arrangements for our clientele. That's the best way I can explain that.
I'm learning this. It's a different age group.
Now, somebody did post on here, and I'm going to answer this, and I hope it gets back. But someone asked if we, here we go. Chad, can you get Caleb Wild on sometime? So, Chad, Caleb is literally my competition. He is on the other side of the river. But I will tell you what, I will reach out to Caleb. I will send him an email, and I will see if he is willing to come on and talk. But he does work for the funeral home on the other side of the river. And I have actually, answered some of their comments when they put some advertisements on my side of town, and I let them know I'm the funeral director here. If they ever need anything, feel free to reach out. I'd be more than happy to work with them and collaborate with them in any way possible. So I will reach out to Caleb, and I'll see if he'd be willing to come on and want to talk, because Caleb wrote a very, very good book, Confessions of a Funeral Director, how a funeral service saved his life. And, there are some very valuable things. So Caleb doesn't work for his family firm anymore. He works for a different firm. So I don't know if he would have to get the blessing and the okay from the new ownership for him to come on and have a talk, but I will reach out.
I think that brings up a really good point. The profession being inclusive with one another and leaning into, obviously, you're not going to just go to the person a mile down the road, but you want to, the desire's there. You can learn so much from people sitting down with someone who is in competition, which competition, by the way, is extremely healthy.
The FTC ruined competition.
Do what?
The FTC screwed consumers and ruined competition.
Yeah. You can elaborate if you wish. I mean, I think it's
we've talked about it before, but all it did was allow for funeral homes to price fix. Because I can walk into Katharine's funeral home if I didn't work for Katharine and say, "Hey, I want to copy your general price list." She has to legally give it to me. Mm-hmm. If I walk down if I drove to Kentucky and walked into one of Nathan's funeral homes and said, "Nathan, I want your general price list," you have to give it to me. And all the funeral. So here's the thing: if my funeral home was making a healthy, profitable bottom line, and I was only charging, and I'm just going to use numbers here, $100 for direct cremation. Okay. And then I find out that Katharine charges $400 for a direct cremation. So now I know I can still raise my price and still be more. It hurt the consumer. But it's about being forward facing and this, that, and the third. All the FTC rule did was take away the competitiveness between funeral homes, because there was no wondering. You can now know. So now I can raise my price up when my price has been perfectly fine, just to get even more of a bottom line. Now, the old school, that's probably what happened. Nowadays, it's the race to the bottom.
Absolutely. The race to the bottom, the direct cremation, the thing that's plastered on billboards everywhere. And then people in the profession are wondering, why is everybody choosing direct cremation? Because it's the only thing you promote, because you want to be competitive to get people in the door, to which the thought is a good thought. The execution of said thought is horrible. People come in, and I'll just use a new team member who's coming in arranging a funeral on your behalf. The race to the bottom, it even starts with the arrangers. It's like, well, they came in and they talked about direct cremation. That's what they want. Well, actually, they wanted the full service, but they saw the billboard that said direct cremation, and they knew that was cremation. They wanted to have a viewing before the cremation takes place. I know that's a very extreme case, maybe let's say even a memorial service, but it's not something that you as the director go into detail to explain, because, they said they wanted direct cremation. So we're assuming it, and then we're devaluing the ceremony and we're eliminating it altogether, which of course minimizes profit, which I will also say anyone who's not in the funeral profession, you go and buy shoes that cost $2 to make for $400, and you don't care that they made $398. You go into the funeral home. I'm not comparing your loved one to shoes, but I'm using this simple, stupid comparison to say it's like, yes, like to have a beautiful service, incredible staff, beautiful coaches, and you know, I could go on and on. Yes, it is a for profit. Yes. And it blows my mind that people are still like, how dare you? But you're right. You are right.
Yeah. So it's going to be interesting to see, but I definitely think that, you know, we are now still trying to recover from COVID-19, where we had to sit back and say, well, you can only pick 3 people to come to your service. And then the other portion is we had to sit there and say, okay, you had a full traditional service plan, but you can't have all these people in the funeral home. So, you know, we're going to still charge you the full amount of the pre-need contract, but you can only have 3 people. So they said, well, whoa. Now we're either going to do a direct burial, or, you know, we're going to change everything just to a direct cremation. And then when you sit there now and you try to explain value of the funeral service, value of the viewing and all that, well, it was fine when grandma died during COVID. So why isn't it fine for grandpa now?
Yeah. And by the way, you need to social distance in the chapel and you can't hug one another.
Yeah. The weirdest thing ever. It was the weirdest thing. Yeah, we went to the parking lot. I know that sounds weird. We put up a really awesome like tent, and we just changed it all up. Okay, well, it's kind of like when you went to the restaurant. It's like, wear your mask until you get to the seat.
Then take it off.
You take it off and you're 2 feet away. You're high-fiving.
Yeah.
COVID didn't go to that table though.
It's like the Green
We could stay here all night and talk.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Sorry. I mean, yeah,
No, okay.
I literally could. Yeah. This is awesome. I believe that this is the solution. It is the solution. Yeah. And people are scared to have my boys. I require them to look me in the eye as gentlemen and to have the tough conversations, to ask the questions, to not assume and then be upset or disappointed in, and then go away and maybe even ruminate on that by talking to someone else about it. It's you face it and you talk about it. If it's a tough one, okay, let's listen and let's have a very controlled response. My point in that is I believe the profession needs this, and I don't think we have enough emotionally intelligent directors that are able, willing. Ego is going to be the death of many, not literal, maybe even literal, but I think this is a requirement. I think this is so important for how we propel this profession.
Yeah, I think that the hard part is not sitting down and you take this and you hit record and all you need to do, guy, just talk, be yourself. I've had people say, oh, I literally had someone say a video that I made last week that I was AI. And my wife was like, no, you don't see how many takes, and, you know, for what you may see 3 minutes of video may take me, because I want it to be perfect, you know, forever to edit and, you know, sit down and, you know, get what I want and get my thoughts together. But it's super simple. Just sit down, record just have a conversation, talk about why you want to be a funeral director, what got you in a funeral, just like we just did, and just post it to your social media. Just post it. Now, make sure that whatever firm you work for or whatever, you don't have social media policies or anything like that. But my workaround for that, when I first started posting to social media, if you go back through my feed, probably about a year and a half ago, I started posting every single morning just a picture of my coffee mug and just like a morning thought, a morning chat, my morning coffee conversations. And then as that progressed, you now get a whole heck of a lot more of me. But Katharine doesn't, you know, restrict me or keep me on a short leash, but she also knows I'm not going to get on there and do something stupid.
Yeah.
I think it also shows the discipline, right? I mean, I think it's beautiful because if you're committed to that, you're committed to the community, the people who aren't in your 4 walls, you're committed to them, then you're going to be committed before that need for the physicality, then they can rest assured that you'll be committed. I've said that like 65 times, but my point is that this is a repetitive, intentional thing. I think is a beautiful thing. And if I may, there is one challenge and plug that I will do, and it's I told you all about it, but there are a lot of people who maybe are starting into the funeral service or a new home, and they don't necessarily have are not able to hire social media management. And I wish I had it before. So I created the selection room, which is helping our colleagues get online with the content. So every single day, if you sign up for it, it generates a unique idea with a strong opening hook, the body of, and you are able to create the content. And it's a generated idea based upon what people are searching for right now online through Google Trends, Reddit, social media. People are asking questions all the time, primarily pre-arrangement and behind the scenes. That's what they want. Those are the two just constantly trending in our world. And no one can any longer say in our profession, I just don't know what to post.
Yeah. Oh,
Right.
It is. Literally created it for you.
Katharine
created it.
best. What is it? You can walk around the funeral home and come up with 16, 17 different content ideas just for some short content videos.
I'm
I filmed a church truck one time and it got like 29,000 views.
Yeah. It's the most random stuff that I think of that, just it really takes off and it gets people talking. But yeah. And we do get a little goofy with our social media every now and then. And I've pulled back just because I find, the goofy stuff tends to go viral. It gets in the algorithm in front of people who typically don't see the comment, and then they're like, what the hell is this, and you're so awful, and blah blah blah. So it brings a lot of the negativity. So we pulled back on the business page. A lot of the goofy stuff we'll post on As The Hearse Turns if there is goofy stuff. But Chris and I did that video yesterday.
The gym.
Yeah, today's Tuesday. We did it at the gym, and I was texting him today. And I'm like, should we put it on the business page? Because I just don't want people to take it the wrong way. But also, too, we are allowed to laugh. We are allowed to be normal people. Mm-hmm. And I think people appreciate that balance of, the serious conversations and just seeing that we're goofballs,
I think it's really hard. And I don't think people realize it. It really tests us as individuals putting ourselves out there with content. It really does. At the end of it, who are we creating the content for? What is the goal? To humanize a profession, to be relatable. You can't be everything to everyone. You can't be the Muslim home. You can't be the Jewish home. You can't be the Baptist home. You are the home you are because it's made up of the people that you are. And I push back on that gently and say, post the gym video. I don't even know what the gym video is, but if I saw posted. That, do what?
It's posted.
There's so many people talking about the gym video right now in the comments.
Listen, it's so important because that's amazing. I thought that was it really is. And the two people, why are the negative ones, the few negative comments, the loudest? And you have thousands and thousands.
I know.
It's so it is. It is a lie. It is the people who write the negative comment. This is fact. They are, and I have sympathy and empathy. They are sad, they are broken, and they are so longing for attention. And they will do whatever. And it's usually just the sad comment, the mean comment that, when we throw mud, we get somebody dirty, right? So we got to take the time to, I believe, and I do ever so often, if I get a negative, I see it and I say, I'm sorry you're so sad. And I mean it when I say it. I'm not just saying it to be a smart aleck. I'm like, I'm sorry you're so sad. I hope you feel better soon. Never, ever once have I had anyone respond. What do they say to that?
Yeah, but they can. And I think there was, Katharine mentioned, or I remember when I first started posting stuff to social media. Katharine, you made the statement and has always stuck with me, but I think I'm going to say it wrong, but it was the loudest boos come from like the cheapest
The loudest
seat.
boos come from the cheapest seats.
Yeah. And that has always stuck with me. And, people don't realize you have to have some very thick skin to get out here and put yourself in front of tons and tons of people. And you know what, though? I will say a lot of the criticism in the comments I got when I first started posting stuff back in October, November about my weight is one of the main reasons. Well, not one of the main reasons. One of the main reasons is to be around longer for my wife and my daughter, but is one of the main reasons why I'm like, you know what? I actually started to look at myself and I realized, okay, I need to get myself back on track to take care of myself, to be able to take care of the families I want to continue to serve. So it's really how you take that those negative comments and all like that, and what you do with them in your mentality wise. You can't let them eat at you. And some of them, yeah, it's just like, yeah, dude, you're just getting blocked because you're an idiot.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
But, you can get a million compliments and then you have one comment.
There's always one.
It like sometimes it would really mess with me to the point where it was like, do I want to log in today? Like, what am I going to see? What nasty words are going to be said? But I mean, you have across your Instagram and your TikTok and your Facebook, you're probably close to 1 million followers, aren't you?
Just under 1 million. And
yeah.
Wow.
And with everything you've gone through, and it was public. I'm sure that you probably saw it all on social media.
Oh, I mean, people were telling me to take my life. People, I mean, yeah, I believe it's so important to be good with self and to know that you are an incredible human. As you know, you have a purpose that is so great. Maybe they're not doing incredible things, but I believe that everyone's worthy. And I don't believe if we feel that about ourselves, and it doesn't matter what is said. And it's hard to be there all the time. I mean, there's this lady, and I actually, it's the first person I blocked. That's fact. This lady gets on all of my Facebook stuff and constantly is like, your hair, weird. And like, these are like heartfelt pieces of content or content with my kids. And it's just like, your hair, weird. I'm like, what is the goal there? Obviously, it's because they want attention. It was so bad. But I really believe people are really broken. And I work tirelessly to not be a broken person and to not spread that same stuff.
Yeah.
You know, so we've got about 7 minutes left. And, you know, Nathan, I just want to say something, man. Like, you're an awesome person. So a lot of folks, you know, when everything went down and, you know, the licensees and stuff like that, even still to the day, you know, I apologize for them, man, because, you know, people, if they truly wanted to know, why didn't they just slide into your DMs, you know, and ask you a question? Or is it, you know, it's just to pass judgment on somebody is just, you know, that it's so wrong. And we talked about that tonight and stuff. But, you know, again, you're a phenomenal person. You're a phenomenal funeral director, you know, just a great human being. You can definitely tell how genuine you are. And I am so glad I can't believe that 2 hours has gone by as quick as it has tonight. So I just wanted to say that. And again, totally fanboying because, I remember, like I said, watching you going through mortuary school. I'm like, this guy's freaking amazing. So just thank you for being here. Thank you for taking the time, and thank you for being real here with us.
I really appreciate that. I believe, I don't know who lied to us and told us that life is supposed to be easy and without heartache and struggle. God knows I would have chosen anything but what I had experienced. But I appreciate you all because being gentle with people is so important. And it doesn't matter where they come from or what's going on. And you're right. No one checked on me in the profession.
Yeah.
They actually leaned into what someone with more tenure and money said. And of course, that was what was truth. And that was hard for a long time, but I'm happy, and I'm great. I'm a great funeral director, and I really care about this profession. And it means a lot that, Katharine called me, or reached out and said, "Hey, I want to talk." And those moments, you all have those probably with families. The first thing you immediately do in your brain is you're like, "What's this about? This is bad. Something happened. Something isn't good. What's going on?" And but we spoke, and you listened, and I think we don't realize how important it is to listen. And to feel heard is the best feeling in the world. Therapy's great and all, but feeling heard, and not to mention being validated in a lot of ways or vindicated, not validated, vindicated.
A lot of people are saying in the chat that it's a great conversation and it was long overdue.
Well, yeah, I don't know about you all, but like, ever since I've become a dad and all this that's happened, I feel like I'm always one really thoughtful statement away from just crying. I always feel like I'm going to cry all the time, but it's the best feeling. It's like, that is joy, and that is available to everybody. And
absolutely.
I genuinely mean it when I say I'm grateful for you all, and not because we're sitting on chatting on a platform and sharing that. I think it's just three people who really obviously care about what they do, but each other, and helping each other do those things as best they can. So it means a lot to me. And I do believe everybody, we leave a mark, good or bad, we're remembered for something, and choose good, be slow to judgment, be kind.
The other thing
now you have me over here getting all teary.
Yeah. I mean, like, I feel, I don't know. I just feel, I don't know. I feel good. I feel like you, I don't know. The new song that comes out August 14th, it says absolutely all of it, everything. I can't listen to that song without crying. I cannot perform the song. I've rehearsed it so many times. I can't sing it without crying. It's a disaster. I'm a disaster. But I really believe, I hope it blesses people, especially those who are faced with challenging times.
So, number one thing, you have Katharine's personal number, you have my personal number, you're now part of the family. So you know how to reach us if you ever need to talk, if you ever need to vent, if you whatever, just reach out, man. We're always here for you. And then second, a lot of people are asking how they can find your Facebook page, which I would think would just be type your name in the search bar. But how can people find you? How can folks find your content?
Yes, you can find me, Nathan Morris Music. That's where you can find me if you want to search on Facebook, or you can, wherever you stream your music, you can search Nathan Morris and you can listen to my content there. Or you can find me sliding into the comment section of your all stuff too. I'll be like, hey boy, hey girl, hey boy, girl, hey.
And then if you go back to any of the As the Hearse Turns, or I don't know, I don't think I was able to tag you in any of our As the Hearse Turns page because it's a page. But if you go back to my personal page, anything that has the advertisements or the information about tonight, Nathan is tagged in those announcements. So go there, click like, give him a follow, and let's see how fast we can get him over 1 million.
That'd be insane. I appreciate it. I don't think people realize, like, if you take people along, everybody just thrives. Just let's go together.
I think we should reconvene too in a couple months and do this again.
I think we should just move into a family commune together. I mean, I'm fine with that.
You have 4 boys and I have 2 boys, and Chris has a girl.
1 girl.
She would hate all of us. She would hate
I don't know.
Everybody.
You haven't met my daughter.
And Chris has a snake. I cannot live.
And I have a snake.
No. That's where I draw the line.
I'm going to end on this. I talked to a guy the other day, and he was like, hey, this is literally how he talks. Like, hey, man, the other day I heard my cat bowl going off. I was like, what? Cat bowl of cat food. Okay. Come outside, go in my kitchen, and there are 2 baby possums in there. They got in through the cat door. Now I got 2 pet baby possums, and I'm raising them things next to my 100 mice in my mice box. He has 2 possums and 100 mice. Yeah. And he eats the cat food, the possums do. That's the best ending for any podcast. That's a true story, by the way.
On that, guys, I've got thank you guys for following. We'll be back on Monday. We were jamming July full of just fun craziness. So we'll be back on Monday with George Ann Bender. You will not want to miss that. But thank you guys all for being with us tonight, and we will catch you again soon. So just stay tuned. Everybody else, just hang tight.
Okay. See ya.